All right, so moving on here. It is time for Shady or Not. And Leslie here, well, she is really wondering that because her friend has the same job, but she gets paid double. Is that shady or not? I think so. Hey, Leslie, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so this is not about dating.
No.
All right.
It's not about dating.
Usually our Shady or Nots are. So what do we got?
Yeah, so, I started working at this company about 8 months ago. And, initially I took this job because I had just got laid off from my other job. It was a really great job that I had before, but I took this job because it allowed me to, spend all day with my daughter. I didn't have to have her in daycare, but it was half. It was half of what I was making, but it worked out okay. Well, as I start working this job, a lot of additional things start coming my way, like a lot of really big projects, a lot of owning, a lot of responsibilities. My hours start changing. They start wanting me to come in early so that I can help develop the team, what have you. Oh, it was a lot. And then the past few months, we had a head of quit. We had a director quit for my team.
Mm-hmm.
And so it left my team pretty empty. It's just me and another manager. And so we were looking for people. As we were looking for people, my boss is asking me hey, is there anybody that you'd recommend? And I had just spoken to one of my friends. And I was I used to manage a team with this person. I loved working with them. I think that they would be perfect to work here. And so they interview her. They take her through the whole process. They love her too. And my boss lets me know that she signed her offer letter. I'm oh, that's so great. And so I reach out to her and we start talking. I'm I'm so excited. This is what it's going to be like. And I ask how much they offer her, and she says an amount that is double what I'm making. She says she's making $130K,
Ooh.
Which no kid you, this is double what I'm making. And I'm so upset about this. I asked, the very next day, I asked my boss, why. I'm curious if there's a difference in why I'm getting paid so much different than my friend. And he goes, well, she was making that much at her last job. And so, we didn't want her to have to downgrade in order to come here. And I was okay, but I was making even more than that at my last job. I don't know why that wasn't considered for me. And he was oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so you didn't know that, but that is the case, and I'm okay, so I'm not sure, I just don't know why this wasn't considered for the rest of the team. I know that the other manager that I work with, they make maybe $5K more than I do, and they've been there for a year longer than I have.
All right, so let me take this from the management side of things for just 1 second, which is not going to be the popular position to take, okay? So a manager's job is to get you to their company for as little as they can. That is their job, right? Your job as the future employee is to get a job and get as much as you can. They got a bottom line and you got a bottom line, right? So when you negotiated this job with them, you didn't use that as leverage in your negotiation. You can't put that on the company and you can't put that on management. Had they known that and they wanted you, they might have matched what you were making at the last place. Your coworker here did use that as her leverage and got what she got in salary now, which she deserves. This doesn't have anything to do with what you've done with the company. I mean, you could certainly go and ask for a raise now, but this was all negotiated before she even took the job. So, I think it's crappy, and I think it's crappy that you know that. In a business sense, as far as managing goes and bringing salaries together, they didn't really do anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I got to agree with Bert. But at the same time, it is unfair, especially with the workload that you've had to take on. So I would ask for a raise. And if they can't match it, it's time for you to leave that company.
For sure.
If they don't value you, they don't get your work.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it's shady or if it's just business. Sometimes those lines do get blurred, but I'll never forget when someone told me one day, going into the workforce, you have to understand that you don't get what you're worth. You get what you negotiate. And that's just the bottom line of it. So I do think you have the right to leave if you feel like it's not fair, because I can understand how you feel that way. But I think they just did what any company would do.
Yeah, and the good news is now you do have that leverage. Now you have the context of how much your employee or your fellow employee makes, and you're so invested in the company that if you go in and you say, hey, I'm ready to walk if you don't raise my pay, that's some leverage right there.
I will say this too, though, Leslie, before I let you go, that asking a company to double your salary in 1 year is almost unheard of. Like, they probably don't have the budget for that. And even though you might be very valuable to the company, asking them to double your salary probably won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I have very low expectations. They're going to get back to me and pay me the exact same amount.
But go get what you deserve, and use this for a lesson in your next position.
Facts.
And then lie to them about what you're making right now so you can get that cash.
Bert Show.